Alright, so welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a little bit different than usual. As you saw in the title, I designed an item in collaboration with OneTiGriS, so thank you very much, OneTiGriS. I'll post down below their web address and their forums so you guys can go and check out some of their items and such. And they got this pretty cool program where you can present your ideas and they will go through them, and if they like your idea, they'll make some prototypes, and then if that works out, they'll send them out to you and you can gear test them. So this is my first item through them that has been successful in my mind. It's made it to my doorstep, so here we go. So it all started out that I have a condor plate carrier, and on the sides it has 2-inch belts with buckles but no side molly, and I wanted to be able to carry my radio and maybe an extra mag on the side. And so I started doing some drawings and just designing up some ideas. So I just kept on going through, and then over time just different problems presented itself, so I would change up the design, add some new features to it. So this was all my drawings and just design plans for it. So just a lot of work of drawing this all up, and basically in the end came down to this one here, and that's the back view for it. Alright, so they kept on making them and doing different designs. In the end, there was 4 prototypes made. So the first prototype came out like this. Only had the 2 rows of molly with just regular webbing on the back. And you can just slip this over a belt and such. It was a little bit taller than what I wanted. And it wasn't the 6.5 inches across. And it just didn't really meet what I wanted. And this is what they first designed, and then they tested it on themselves, and they said, hey, this actually does sort of work. So I ended up continuing on, and just there were some frustrations there, but we kept on redesigning and such. So then the next version that came out was this one. And as you can see, I wanted an extra row of molly because different molly pouches and items attach in different spots and just have different configurations on how they attach. So this one, actually, it was this one, came out, and the issue I had was that I didn't like how long it was, and again, the height. I wanted things to be a little bit tighter. I wanted it to be 6.5 inches by 3 inches exactly, but they did a good job on it. And then we also redesigned to have 3 rows of elastic on the back, but there was the issue where I wanted only it to be 2 inches with stretchy material this time, which they did. Then they did this version, and same thing, just a little bit tighter. As you can see, now we don't have all the border on it, became tighter. So I said, listen, I still wanted to have the 2 inches on the back. So after those were made, this was the final item that was made, and I'm very happy with it. Later on in the video, after I show some examples of use, I'll get into some changes I might like to see in the future. But as you can see, they have doing this cross stitching here, shortening up the belt loop to 2 inches, which I required and wanted. Still have my 3 rows of molly, everything nice and tight at 6.5 inches by 3 inches in height. So exactly the measurements I wanted. That was for a reason, and that's because usually in between belt loops on pants, there's about 6.5 inches there to 7 inches. So I wanted this to be able to fit in between belt loops. But then we also made it with the 3 rows so that we could put belt loops in between. So we have a 1-inch space there, because belt loops can range from being 1 inch to, 1.5 inch, 1 inch, 0.75 inch. They're all different sizes. So, but the largest belt loops I see on pants are usually 1 inch. So that's why I had it designed like this. So yeah, turned out pretty good. As mentioned before, it was for the side of my plate carrier to wear on one of the straps so I could put my radio and an extra mag. I also wanted to be able to use it for work, for security, and use it on my duty pants and be able to hook up different items. For example, put a medical pouch and my radio pouch on there if I wished. You could use it on backpacks. You could just use this with wearing blue jeans and a belt. And you know, sometimes you might have like a holster with the paddle, but you have no way of carrying your pistol mags, or if you have a rifle, you could also use this and then attach it to your pants. So all different types of configurations. So the next couple parts of my video, I'm going to be showing different uses and different setups and how I configured how to use it. One of the issues that they were talking about earlier is about the fact of shifting. I've showed multiple ways of removing that problem. So let's continue on with the video. All right, so this is one of the other uses that I want to use it for, and was what really based my primary idea of making this Molle panel for 2-inch belts, is the fact that, for example, my plate carrier here, which is from Condor, just has these side straps but no side Molle to mount any items. You can use just 2 rows of Molle and like make a loop and put items on here, but they just don't hold really stable. Smaller items, yes, but when you're trying to do it with mags and stuff, they flop around. So, as I stated, that was one of the primary reasons why I designed this panel. So on this side, as you can see, I have the panel, and I have my radio here, which is one of the reasons I also want to make. I want my radio to the front, and I wanted to carry a side mag here. So, as you can see, nice and stiff on there, works out perfectly. Fits over the buckle. I will do a close-up once I take the plate carrier off. I'll do a close-up of how I mounted that to that strap. All right, so yeah, it worked out really well. I like it. Okay, so here's the panel. As mentioned before, this is my favorite one, the one that has the 2-inch with the elastic. And I'm going to show how I put this on. So basically, you have your 2 sides of your strap here, and they clip together. I take the panel and I do this side first because this is the side that's got like this forked teeth. It's a little bit harder to put through, but once you got that side on, as you can see, if you really want to fiddle with it, you could use this middle one. I don't. And I take this side, stretch it over, and there you go. So there you go. Now you've got it placed on. As you can see, the buckle size actually fits perfectly in between there. Once you've got some of your gear on here, it stretches it a little bit more, makes it a little bit more stiffer. It's on there nice and firm and tight. Doesn't flip around. So yeah, that's why this is my favorite version so far. Really like that. So anyways, to take it off, just backwards. Basically just sit there and you can pull it right off. It's pretty simple. So yeah, there you go. Alright, so this is another example of how the panel can be used. This is my cross-draw vest. It comes with a 2-inch duty belt that's held on by the vest by these little straps that go all the way around. Usually they come with these like sideways mag pouches for pistols. Not really much you can do with these. You can do the same thing with your Molle gear, loop it and just have it hanging off. But as mentioned, here's another use for the panel. You can put the panel onto the belt. You can use the straps that hold the belt onto the vest as a belt keeper so that the panel cannot shift back and forth. It will not move back and forth, as you can see there. I got my OneTiGriS admin pouch here on it. And as you can see, it's on there. It's not going anywhere. So another example of another use. In just a few moments here, I'm going to show how I have that attached. Alright, we're back here with the cross-draw vest with the Molle panel on here. I took the admin pouch off just so I can show how I have this attached. So as you can see, this is what I was mentioning of using the strap from the vest that hooks up to the belt as a belt keeper. So as you can see, it only moves with the vest and what it's doing, which is pretty good. To get it on, basically I took off the buckle itself and then just took it all apart, slid this belt through the straps, put it all back together, and then positioned it to where I wanted and ran this strap through for the belt keeper. So yeah, just another use that you can use it for. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, so for this setup, basically these are the pants I wear for my job. I do security, and at our job we can wear like a duty belt with the pouches that they come with and such, but I like to be a little bit more discreet, a little bit more low profile. So this is another use for this Molle panel and was my second reason of why I wanted it. As you can see here, I have a radio pouch and I have a medical glove pouch and a little first aid kit in there. And on the job we can't wear like a full-blown battle belt, but we don't really have the ability to carry like gear that uses Molle. So with having this Molle panel here, it's very discreet. You can't tell that there's a Molle panel there, like if it was like a battle belt. And I've got my stuff on there. And it's on there. I've used the actual belt loop of the pants as a stop for it so that it can't slide back and forth. It won't move, it won't shift on me. It's very stable. I like it. I would usually have a bigger radio. This is one of my home radios. But yeah, worked out well. So in just a second, I'll show how I have that attached to the pants. Alright, so this is just with the pants and the belt. And basically, I just ran the belt through the first belt loop on the pants, and then through the loop on the panel. And then I use the loop here as a stopper so that the Molle panel doesn't shift. And then ran it through the extra two loops and just kept on going from there. As you can see, very discreet. Can't tell that there's a Molle panel, that you're using Molle pouches or items. So I like that. Worked out really well. Again, using the 2-inch loop version of it. That's the one that I like, and that's how I wanted it designed. Alright, so I just showed a configuration just using your regular belt and pants and having that Molle panel on. But for some instances, some individuals that do security or police and such use inner belt and an outer belt. So they have their duty belt and they use what's called a belt keeper. So this is a belt keeper. This is the button snap style ones. And it's just basically a strap that you place around both belts. Snap it into place, and this helps the outer belt from shifting up and down on you. So when you're running or whatever, your gear isn't flopping all over the place. But you can also use these belt keepers for using the Molle panel that we designed here, and it'll stop it from also shifting because of the way the loops are on the back of the panel. You can put a belt keeper in between there, a belt keeper in between there, and then put the belt loop in between of both of those and strap them on. So now you have the ability, if you are using an outer duty belt, to also use this panel, carry a radio, medical pouch as I shown earlier, and it won't shift on you, and it's in place. And then you just got to buy a couple extra belt keepers, and that works perfectly. So I'm going to come right back, and then I'm going to show how I attached all that as well. Okay, so here we have the other setup with two belts now. We're using the outer duty belt and the inner belt for the pants. And as mentioned, using the belt keepers. I bought a couple of these just from a local surplus store. So usually duty belts come with those, but you'll need an extra couple to be able to do this. So you can buy them. They're cheap. They're like $2.99 for a 2-pack. So anyways, I got the panel affixed to the outer belt, and I just put that through, and then I weaved in some belt keepers right here, and then attached it all together and used the belt loop so that this doesn't shift back and forth on you and move around on you. So I'm just going to take it apart so you can see what I've done here. So there's the belt keepers, undo them, and there it is. I ended up weaving the belt through and then shove these belt keepers through, and then attached it to the inner belt, and that worked out fine. Also, notice again, I'm using the 2-inch loop on the panel itself, and it works out. Alright, so here's another simple use for the Molle panel. You can use it with your backpacks. Your backpacks usually come with a strap for your belt that's either 1 inch to 2 inches thick, depending on the size of the backpack. Some of them don't have any Molle panels or anything affixed in that area. So if you did want to carry up front, you could attach this onto the strap, and there you go. Now you can carry, for example, I've got my security gear here, but you can use a mat pouch like the one I showed earlier in the video. You can attach whatever you want to put there. You can put a little pouch with your snacks. So yeah, very simple. Don't need to go to the table to show how that was put on. Just basically just weave it through and you're good to go. You can put it on, and now you've got a Molle panel on the front to carry that extra gear. Alright, so as you saw there, I did a whole bunch of examples of how to use it and just how to stop shifting using the belt keepers or your belt loops on your pants, and just how it fits on, for example, the plate carrier. It can be used with all different types of items. So in conclusion of the actual item, after using it here for a little bit on different configurations, there is a couple changes, slight changes I would like to be seen done to it. The front of it, perfect. No changes need to be done to the front of it. On the back, however, the straps, perfect widths, everything's fine on that. It's just how it's sewn together I would like to see changed. So for starters, as you can see here, they've got the elastic come in and then come down inside where the Molle is. I've noticed that items, like when you're trying to remove them, get a little caught up on that, so that could cause a problem. It's not a huge issue, but if you turn this upside down, and what they've done here, they've taken a piece of material, Kudura here, and folded it in half to make the main plate with the Molle and everything on it, or the panel. And what they could do really is take this elastic material, fit it in between the two halves, and then fold it down and then do your stitching across to seal that in. That will make it so, as you can see when they did the bottom here, it's nice and flat. It's perfect. Because the issue here is that you see there's that little bit of sag, that extra material really. So you don't need that. So flip it upside down, take the loop, bring it down, re-sew it across, then come down and then add your X stitching here with the square, the box stitching, and have the same 2 inches, same size. Nothing has been changed with the measurements, just how it's sewn together needs to change. If that's done, then what will happen is that this material will be nice and flat, and as you can see when I push down, you can see this is excess. We don't need that. We only need exactly 2 inches. This is more than 2 inches of material. So you know, you can bring this down, stretch it just a tad, and then sew it down, and that'll get rid of that extra give and that extra droop that it might happen over time, especially. And then finally, I mentioned this in my thread, and it's in my diagram, and I was showing right here that in between the material, I wanted a rigid but pliable material just to give the panel that extra bit of stiffness. I showed them a picture of their own item here. Here's their min pouch. As you can see on the Molle straps here, they use it. There's like that black material in between. Sort of hard to see on that one. Oh, this side's better. There we go. As you can see, there's like this black material that's rigid in between. I want that same material between the halves that you folded over. I want that inside that, so that makes it a little bit more rigid. And then this item, I think, is good to go. I think it would be perfect. But overall, it still works. It did its job. I'm very happy with it. So thank you again, OneTigirs, for making this and collaborating with me with my design. I will link above or somewhere here on the screen your website, so that if anybody's curious about this company, they can go check it out, and maybe they have some ideas that they want to design, so they can come join the forums and partake in what we do there. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a great day, have a great week, and take care.